Once you start eating food, the calories and nutrients that you consume are used to power your brain, repair broken down muscles, tissues, and provide energy for all your cells and organs to function. However, once your basic energy needs are met, all the excess calories are then converted to fat, and that fat is stored around various places throughout the body, especially around the stomach, love handles, and hips. While this whole process does follow the basic principles of calories in versus calories out, there are certain foods that are more likely to lead to an overconsumption of calories and in turn more fat storage. So I'm gonna give you some of the most highly fattening foods that you should definitely limit if you want to maintain a flat stomach. The number one food or drink I should say that's highly fattening is soda. In fact, soda is a much bigger problem than you might think. The average American consumes 270 calories of added sugars every day, and most of these extra calories come from drinking soda. These liquid sugars end up adding up to almost 1900 extra calories per week, which is about equivalent to the amount of calories you would burn if you ran 12 to 15 miles. So that's going to be tough to burn off, to say the least. And the problem with sugar calories is that they are ineffective at satisfying hunger, and so they typically end up going on top of the calories that we already consume. That's why people that drink soft drinks and other sugary beverages tend to weigh more than others who don't, as shown by two systematic reviews. For that reason, I recommend that you replace soda with healthy beverages like sparkling water, tea, and coffee. The other food that you probably didn't know is peanut butter. Now, the thing is that peanuts aren't inherently bad. In fact, studies link peanut consumption to a reduced body weight and an improved health. The problem is that when it comes to peanut butter, it's very easy to eat a whole lot of more calories than you would if you were eating regular peanuts. This is due to the fact that turning peanuts into peanut butter removes the chewing resistance that whole peanuts have. On top of that, many people love peanut butter and they like to spread it in a thick layer on top of their toast or on top of slices of apples, and that peanut butter adds much more calories to the toast or the apple than you might think. Sometimes it can even double or triple the amount of calories that you would consume if you just stuck with a plain apple or a plain toast. One last issue with peanut butter is that most brands are commercially prepared, which often adds vegetable oil, sugars, and salt, all of which make the food tastier but less satiating and higher in calories. So even there's nothing wrong with the natural varieties of peanut butter, as long as you can ensure that you stay within your set caloric target. The problem is that eating too much peanut butter throughout the day could make it almost impossible to stay within the desired calorie range and cause fat gain. Next, we have is beer. I know you've heard the word beer belly. Well, the term beer belly exists for a reason, because beer is one of those beverages that's most likely to cause you to gain excess pounds. There are a number of reasons why beer is likely to pack on weight. First of all, is alcohol is converted to acetate in the body, mostly in the liver, and as acetate enters your blood, fat burning becomes highly suppressed throughout your entire body. As a result, the fatty acids that you eat are more likely to be stored as body fat instead of being burnt off. On top of that, acetate itself can also be converted into fat. Another issue with drinking alcohol in general is that it's often paired with the high-fat junk foods like pizza or late-night McDonald's trips, and the excess calories from drinking alcohol doesn't really fill you up at all. Contrary to protein, carbs, and fats, alcohol doesn't suppress appetite, but instead it may even increase it. For example, in a recent study, 2019 systematic review and meta-analysis, the researchers concluded that adults don't compensate properly for the amount of alcohol calories they take in by eating less. On the contrary, a relatively small amount of alcohol can lead to an increase in food consumption. Now, when you compare alcoholic drinks, beer happens to be one of the most likely alcoholic beverages to cause fat gain. This is because, as a general rule of thumb, beer contains 150 calories per drink, while wine contains 125 calories per glass and hard liquors contain about 100 calories per shot. Next, we have potato chips. Over a 20-year period, scientists from the Harvard Medical School assessed over 120,000 men and women, and they looked at how particular change in their lifestyle would influence their body weight over 4-year incremental intervals, and what they found was very interesting. The lifestyle change that was most strongly associated with gaining weight over a 4-year period was increasing the number of potato chips eaten. So, why were the potato chips so strongly associated with weight gain? Well, one reason is that they are very high in calories for the amount of volume they occupy in your stomach. 100 grams of potato chips contains an average of a hefty 536 calories, but that's not all. Another important factor to note is that the snacks like potato chips are paired with watching television or a movie, especially late at night. And since people tend to eat a lot of more calories when eating distracted, especially when they do so in the evening, it's no wonder that researchers found increasing potato chips intakes tend to cause weight gain. Next, we have cookies. Cookies are often made from ingredients that don't fill you up like flour, sugar, and butter. Plus, they usually have other high-calorie tasty ingredients like chocolate chips added as well. That's why cookies are highly fattening. For example, one study found that if overweight people eat 2 cups of watermelon daily, they generally end up consuming fewer calories than they were before, and over time they lose fat. On the other hand, if people consume the same number of calories in the form of cookies, they tend to overeat and gain fat. Studies even shows that cookie consumption is likely to significantly increase blood pressure and body fat. So if you wanna lose weight, go for a natural sweet such as watermelon instead. Not only will that help you control your calorie intake, but it also leave you feeling fuller, and you'll end up consuming a broad spectrum of beneficial micronutrients. Another high-calorie food is cooking oil. Now, don't get me wrong, dietary fat is essential for health, and cooking oils like avocado oil and olive oil offer a broad range of beneficial effects. But there's a problem. Cooking oils are the most calorically dense food group available while having only a minimal effect on satiety. Combine that with the fact that it's easy to use a lot more cooking oil than what's needed to cook foods and make them taste great. Using too much oil actually happens to be the number one way that cooking oil can become extremely fattening. For example, given that 1 tablespoon of olive oil has 119 calories, adding 3 of those to your daily meals means you'll end up consuming an extra 357 calories. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to avoid cooking oil, especially those that are healthy like avocado oil and olive oil, but it does mean that it's important to be careful with how much oil you use. An excellent tool that can help you with this is an oil mister. It can significantly reduce the amount of oil that ends up in your pan. Of course, there are many ready-to-use cooking sprays that you can get at the grocery store, but generally they are not ideal because they usually have highly processed and unhealthy vegetable oils like canola and rapeseed. Instead, I recommend to buy a separate oil mixer and then add in either avocado oil or olive oil yourself. Next, we have something that goes hand in hand with beer, and that French fries. With a typical 5-ounce serving containing about 427 calories, French fries can definitely be considered a highly caloric junk food. Combine that with the fact that French fries usually come complete with the rest of your meal like a double cheeseburger and a soda, and you'll see how you can easily add hundreds of extra calories on top of the French fries. Aside from the fact that French fries are highly caloric without filling you up, they also have another downside. They tend to come with a lot of salt. Now, sodium itself doesn't cause fat gain because it's actually calorie free. Although, on a side note, it can cause weight gain by forcing your body to retain more sodium in your cells, leading to an increased overall water retention. But even if you are not concerned about water weight, sodium can in fact stimulate fat gain indirectly. This is because eating more salt can cause you to consume more calories, making you more likely to end up in a caloric surplus. For example, a 2009 study introduced what researchers call the salted food addiction hypothesis. They claim that salted foods could be addicting because they stimulate opioid and dopamine receptors in the brain, and the researchers also noted that not consuming as much salt could cause withdrawal symptoms. This is actually one reason why many people have strong cravings for junk food like French fries. Those are the foods that you shouldn't necessarily be afraid of, but you should definitely limit in your diet if you want to get lean and maintain that lean look. Of course, these foods can be included in moderation, but be careful because it's easy to go overboard and gain fat in the process. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you subscribe to the channel. See you in my next video.